Hi, I've prepared 7 pictures for a customer whose remit was they were to go in a pink and green room and they would choose 4 or 5 of these pieces. In doing them, I thought I'd film them and let everybody see it, and then they can do one themselves if they like. You put down base colours and then build up colours on top of it. So it's all about mark making and ways of applying paint. And I use a comb brush for the heathers, a comb brush and a fan brush, and I also use a bank card to apply the paint. Thanks for watching and I hope you enjoy. I begin with an undercoat of colour. I've got a bit of pink on my brush there, but it doesn't matter because it's going to be sort of green and coming down to pink at the bottom, this painting. And the underground colour is to inform the rest of the painting. It sort of informs the colours that you put in on top of it. So even if you say have a bluey green and then you wait till it dries and put a yellow on top of it for the sky, the bluey green of the initial colour will come through the yellow of the sky, and that is the idea that I'm planning. Again, you think about colour perspective, you think about where your hills are going to lie. I'm really blending it all in there. So you pull the paint through itself. You can add more, and then you really wipe the paint back through itself, it will blend. And then I'll then add in the hills and think about the colour perspective, because what I really want is a nice hillside with some dark colours to the front that will inform the painting as I go forward. And this one, the plan was to do some crows on a field, so this isn't quite right, but it develops as I go forward once it's dry. So I'll put that to one side to dry. So now I've got a green one, and this one I think I will make more into the third one. So I'm going to take out some of that green on the top with a very faded out pink. So I'm just going to soften that with, I've not done that before with a pink over a green, but that is very pretty. And you see I can take that down with some blue as well at some point. Okay, so now I'm going to start thinking about where the hills are going to go, because I wanted them up high. So there's the beginnings of my hills, and I can actually lift that out as well with the blue. And then, but again, faded out sagey green that I had. So I've got that lovely sagey green coming through as well. Now this again is just the undercoat, and I'm going to have and it could go that way, and I could, yeah, because I could go like so, and the path could go that way. And I want more of that rust colour, rust pink colour. I want it to be bravely pinky rust. So I'm going to bring it from here, and then that's going to come down too. And then I've got some of the pink from the sky in there too. This is going to be the undercoat of the fields I'm going to put in. Yeah, so that's going to sort of, and I don't have to describe too much at this point. I just want these gorgeous colours in there. So without even trying, I've got some really lovely sort of marks that I can work from. And some of this faded pink in the background too, just so that the whole thing is informed all the way through. So that was really just a dirty brush, and it's just to go on the background, just to start off the colour. And I've got to let that dry, because otherwise the green on top won't sit on top. It'll blend in, won't it? I'm over fiddling there, I don't particularly like that. I'm just going to blend that in a bit, just so it's not too sharp a thing. The colour. There's a bit of blue in there, I quite like that though. Okay, let's leave that to dry. That's the second stage of that one. Right, now I did this one before, and now I'm going to just show you how I add the I add the marks of the background in. So I'm going to start with a bluey green in the background, just to go over this, and just to suggest, you know, the hills coming out. And that's all you need. I mean, that's just a gesture, And now I'm going to bring in a colour that I've done. So I've mixed a colour and I'm just going to bring it in over this. I think the path again is coming in that way. So here, that will come across like so. And again, just using my paintbrush to take off that sharp line, and then that's going to be another one, and the path's going to come around there somehow. So I've got that on there, and I can drag it over like so. And then on this side, you make the green just a little bit more intense and a bit more interesting. And also, like that was a cold green, I'm going to make it a much warmer green. So I've added a warmer yellow, and I'm going to add a bit of ochre. So look at this colour. So that's much, much warmer, and you can still, you can still play with this. You can add greens. You can add a deeper green. You can still play with the colours that's on there, so that you and see how they're similar shapes. They look absolutely awful. So and just see what you can make of these shapes, because you don't want it to look like that so much. But I do like the sort of thing there, so you've got to be careful you don't lose it. And then we've got a white and a buff titanium mixed on there. I'm just going to bring in some sort of area that's going to be a path. And that's about all I will do. It's almost like just suggesting it. If you want to just smooth it off and sort of start marking it in for fun, really. And then the next thing I do, in order to bring in the lovely lines of the hills, is I get one of these. I don't know what they're called. I'll put the name up afterwards. And I start pulling in the lines. So this one, I want the thing to look like, it's too late, I've dried already. So let's just see if I can, so let's see if I can do this one. So I think it might look nice if that goes down that way. You can just see it's just suggesting. And if it doesn't come out enough, you can use something else like so. That's just a palette knife. So let's see if I can do this one. Not doing it as much as it has done in the past. Everything must be a bit dry, and I don't like all the same mark widths, so I'm just trying to see if I can alter that. And then you can even get your brush again. I want my little one and I can't find it. Oh, there it is. So, and you can just pull some over so they don't look quite so harsh. I've got tape going all the way across this, so that's why I'm not sort of too worried about underneath of it. So when you start feeling like you're getting there, it does feel much nicer. And then even on the background, like probably a comb brush would be better here. So I've got a little comb brush. I'm going to mix again. I want it more bluey because it's in the background. But again, like, try and decide how you want it, and also try and remember you're trying to achieve some sort of perspective. So even just something like that is enough, just to suggest that there's other things going on in the distance. And even just a wee bit there, but nothing much, because I don't want that to become too obvious. And then you can even go in again, like I was saying, try not to overpaint it. But you can even go in again with a bit more colour at this point, you know. And if that's wrong, which I think it is a bit, you know, you still have choices. You can still mark it through again. Now, see what's happened is you've got your pink, you've got your blue, and now this is too pink and green. So I mean, you might not think so, but I feel it is. And I make an incredible mess of my palette because I really mix colour. I'll find a corner to put my light blue in, and I'm using with the mixing white, so it's translucent and thin. And I'm just after a bit of, you know, I don't want much. I just want to take off that, all of, not some of that pink, and I love some of the green left because it's so unusual, so I'm going to leave that almost as it is. And you can go darker blue to the top if you want to. And you can also really take these down by just putting a wash of the blue, sort of just making it drift over the colours, and even maybe even down in here, just to sort of give it a perspective, so that the saturated colour is in the front and the desaturated colour is in the back. Probably, but I do like it. That lovely emerald green in the background. So I might, so like that emerald green. I'm just going to see if I can mix them and like it. And just bring it in onto these as well. I absolutely love cerulean blue. It has this unbelievable ability to be both distance and to work in the distance and the foreground, so I do tend to sort of use it quite a lot. I absolutely want some in there. And then you can, you know, if you wanted sort of more like just suggestions of grasses and stuff, you can really alter that as well, because it's going to look, obviously, so that's better. It's going to look so different when you come to taking the tape off. Yeah, that's better. It just works better as the whole, you know. The colours are more happy with each other. I'm not sure I've got enough saturated colour in the foreground, because I was aware when I put that light green in, the yellowy green, that it was, you know, soft, whereas so you're not getting contrasts. So I'm just going to try bringing in a bit of other greens. I don't want too much. And I can still pull through that if I want to. Right, I would leave that as this is to dry now, and then I would put in my birds, and I'd probably put them in. Actually, I'm going to do it now. I want a fine paintbrush. So I want a fine paintbrush, and I'm just going to start just popping in some to the background. And they don't have to be very described. You know, they can be tiny weeny little marks, but I want them to look like they're flying across the field. And then I think I might even do them in a purple, because normally I would do them in a dark blue, but let's see what they look like in the purple as they come forward. I really like that colour on this, on the background colour. And you see that where it works so nicely, where the cerulean blue was on there first, it sort of doubles up its motion. In any case, you get the gist. And then, like, I'm not so keen on just the purple at the foreground, so I'll probably add a brown I don't really want, I won't go black. And I'll let this dry and see how the colours sort of sit with one another. And try and sort of spread them erratically. One tends to put them, see there was a line there. One tends to put things in a sort of regular pattern. I do like that purple in it. I don't know whether it's enough for the customers, but I can always darken it up if they don't like it. Oops. And that's because it wasn't so dark, so dry, so it's sort of mixing in with the background colours, and I'm just giving them a bit of form as well, like a head and a tail, but I don't know whether it's necessary. I'm not so keen on this shape. I just really feel the balance still isn't quite right. I'm going to just try a bit of sort of grey in the clouds. I can take out those birds and then I can put them back in again. I just was a bit disappointed with the colour and the depth of the piece. Again, I should wait till it's dry before I do this. I just sort of, it was all set up on the easel and I just wanted you to see it really, I suppose. You see that, and then again, they look so different when they're actually, when they're dry and when the edges have been taken off. Too intense, too harsh. Oh, shame, because I've lost that a bit. I don't think I think what's happened is it's competing too much with the birds and I didn't like it. And I've got very clumsy with the birds, which I don't like either. But again, you know, it's no point showing everybody the perfection. You know, people should see the mistakes. Let's see, I just take that out a bit. And try and take him out too, because he's ugly. In fact, I'm going to take him out altogether. Looks like a funny V in the middle of the picture. And then try and get him back in again. Try and get the green back in again. In a way that sort of works. Right, that needs probably a bit of fine work on it. But that'll do. And then, because I've got these gloves on, and you just peel off your masking tape and the whole thing becomes like a finished piece and sort of becomes more defined because they look so different when they're mounted. That's not come off clean, it's torn away there. That's, for some reason that's got very stuck down. It must be very thick of paint and primer and everything to put it down in the first place. But see all this as well, see this at the bottom, I mean that's really nice. You could almost leave an area so it comes out over the mount board, because that's lovely. You know, the edging that you've put on it, because I really like it when it extends on it, but I'm not going to do it this time. And I have done it, a lot of them do extend out. I'll have to do some more because that's dead cute. But that's about what I'm sort of trying to achieve. I've been doing a series of lessons that teach acrylic skies, so I'm going to be doing some videos on that in the future. And I'm also going to go back to doing my pigment transfer explorations. I hope you enjoyed the video and I hope you got something from it. Please remember to like and subscribe. Please remember to press the notification button if you would like to be notified when I upload any other videos. Thanks very much for watching. All the best.